Hello. Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to this broadcast. And good afternoon all across Australia and New Zealand and many other places where it's afternoon. And it's been a little bit. It's been a couple of weeks now since the last did the live, but thank you for joining in, whether live or afterwards. It's all good, and hope you guys are having a great week. And today is a subject up there: business meets spirituality, and $1 billion reason to pay attention to your dreams. Now this is quite a very interesting topic. It's a very very interesting topic with many layers to it. But I think we are at a point where we're seeing that there's a lot of focus on. We're starting to see. Hello, AV. How are you doing? How's America? How's the US? Thanks for joining in. And so essentially, what we're doing is we're seeing a lot of spirituality coming on the center stage in terms of mainstream. Way back when, spirituality wasn't on the forefront, but now it is becoming very mainstream. We got the Deepak Chopras. We have got Oprah talking about, meditation, gratitude rituals, all the stuff. Whether you want to talk about Tony Robbins, and we're seeing the coming in of yoga in schools, which is a whole different issue in schools and many places, and even in churches, which is another topic by itself again. But essentially, what I'm saying is spirituality has become more mainstream, and at the end of the day. For many people now, it's a case of getting the conviction that to say, oh, no, what, out of all the various options available, I'm convicted towards this particular path. For example, if you're a kingdom child and you've been convicted, you don't need anybody to debate with you, because to you it's real. It's real. You've seen the power of God work in your life. You don't need anybody to convince you, what it is, what it's not, because you had a God encounter. This is why it's very, very important for people to actually have that God encounter themselves, because when you have got a God encounter yourself, no one can take you out of that, because a lot of people are saying sometimes they thought a person is saved and sanctified, but in the day they get a bit of money in their pocket, they get a bit of fame, and before people can say hallelujah, guess what? The person is no longer saved. They are now talking about going a different path, which is a whole a whole different trajectory altogether to what people knew them as. And as much as people like to judge and stuff, at the end of the day, it comes down to those two things: really having that God encounter and having that conviction. Because if you turn an orange juice into let's for example into milk, orange juice into milk, and if that has already happened, no one can deny the fact that orange juice is potentially milk. And that means there's evidence, there's concrete evidence, and everybody can see, can taste it. Oh, no, what? This is the orange juice, or apple juice, whatever. It's not milk. So, but having said that, I think this is where the critical stage we are in now, where a lot of people are now being bombarded with all these options. And even children, we got yoga infiltrated. Also, beliefs are coming into the school system, which is very interesting. But at the same time, I suppose for kingdom citizens, it just calls us to be more alert and more discerning. But really, we're seeing even whether successful businesses, they are no longer exclusive to one particular religion, but you can find it in any religion across right now. You're finding big time players in those areas. And I think just a few years ago, I think Marissa Mayer, at the time she was still heading Yahoo, she said if hers is with God, a family, and Yahoo, so she was pretty much being open about it. And I think this is where we're coming to now. We're seeing people really saying, what, I'm not ashamed of what I believe in. This is my form of spirituality, and I'm going to come up and open, hey, deal with it. You know what I mean? So this is where we are, what's happening. But then if you look at that and step into the world of dreams, you see now start seeing that even right from from biblical times, we saw baby Jesus changing cities because the parents had received a dream, and even saw Pontius Pilate's wife. She had dreams, and she told her husband, look, this man is innocent. And that's back in the day. And even coming closer, even just, even this, we started with Titanic as well. Apparently on the first night, one of the ladies had a dream, and she kind of, when she woke up, she realized, what, something's gonna go down with this Titanic thing. So what she did was she prepared the kids and ensured that on the second night they would have ready for, she changed them just at the first sign of trouble. She doesn't have to pick up or change whatever. She's just gonna go up straight, and that's exactly what happened. That at the first sign of trouble on the second night, because she's already prepared. She was one of the first people to get up there, and then she survived. But the husband, unfortunately, on the first night when she told the husband, he didn't pay attention to that. So unfortunately, apparently, he was left behind. So here I'm just demonstrating the power of dreams in terms of how they're another critical aspect of spirituality. Even same as Joseph. With Joseph, we know the whole story with the brothers. I know you had many sermons about it, where they got other stars, bowing down to his star, whatever. But it's come down to the fact, to the bottom line that Joseph was called in the marketplace, was called to lead a nation. But even still in his childhood, God was already showing him that, look, this is where you're going. But obviously, you can see that his immaturity. I mean, innocent. He was innocent. Young boy. He's excited. He got a dream. He's excited. Told his brothers because he thought, what, I'm among brothers. But unfortunately, that activated jealousy within the family, and we all know the rest of the story. But having said that, we also see the hand of God. All things are together for good for those who love God, and according to his purpose. And he had to go through his journey up until he got to the place where he was God ordained. Now there are many debates of what could have happened, this and that. But at the end of the day, we're seeing the power of spirituality in that area where God is actually showing people way back, way in their childhood, this is where you belong. And I had recently another woman was, I think she's in her 60s. They announced to the church the other day that I think she was going to Switzerland, but in probably just before she was even 10 years old, she had a dream of being in Switzerland. And at the time, apparently it makes sense. But it is what it is, and you're seeing how the power of spirituality is really displayed in that area. And I think even the Bible talks about that. Even we see many times, right in the book of Job, it talks about the dreams and stuff like that. But the key point here is, at the end of the day, people gotta start paying attention to that. Now, because for many people, I know the issue is with the dream. The thing about, look, it's a bit hocus pocus. Really, it's not even hocus pocus. Just as much as Tony Robbins has studied people, has worked with people, you start seeing patterns. And I think when I wrote Head to Head with Jezebel, one of my books a few years ago, that came because I had spent hours and hours talking to people in different countries. Those prayer calls on Skype, whatever. I was talking to different people. But then I found out over here that people in small churches had certain issues. But then you get on a Skype call, you're talking to another 10, 15 people, and you start seeing those issues again, whether someone is in America, UK, there's certain issues peculiar to small churches. And then the same thing applies to mega churches. Not judging churches is the only thing, but it is what it is. There are certain issues that you find in mega churches that are common among them. Same as small churches. If you look in small churches, if you talk to 5, 6 different people from small churches, sooner or later you're going to find a pattern. That's exactly what it is. It's the same thing with the dreams. That the certain dream that whenever people have those dreams, certain things would happen. Exactly. So and then not only that, but when certain people take certain type of action against the dream, they get breakthroughs. And sometimes you see how that works. So that's exactly what it is. It's not a hocus pocus, so it's not like rocket science or whatever. No, it's not. There are certain things that have already been traced. So the question now comes down to you having an understanding of where you are and where you're going, and how God speaks to you, and sort of what sort of dreams you have and things like that. For example, I think I was just talking to someone just a couple of years back. Anytime they went for an exam, they would dream an old lady. Whenever they dream that old lady, that exam guaranteed they would fail. Exactly. So that is the pattern now. That particular dream, it's a whole number of layers that needs to be dealt with. That had to do with spiritual warfare and actually going into prayer and having God reveal what's going on. By the end of the day, from the outset, it was quite clear that there was interference there. So, but essentially, the key thing of this live stream is basically the fact that we're seeing spirituality as center stage. Just the other day, I was at the airport. I was coming from interstate. And I actually didn't know at the time, but I bumped into, I think, one of the rooms. There was actually like a prayer room right at the airport. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, nice. So radio, you see, they're already allocating like a prayer room at the airport. Why? Because there's that consciousness of how spirituality is affecting the business. For some reason, even China has got its own whatever that sort of rules. That's why China sometimes, I think probably a few years ago, they made the headlines. They even glorified whatever it is that they do in terms of how it brought economic progress. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a very interesting world affairs that we're living at the moment. We're seeing spirituality and business pretty much kissing, kissing, if you like to say that, if you want to use that word, or merging, whatever you want to call it, where to a lot of people now there's no longer a difference. It's just like business, spirituality, business, because they are all come together now. Yeah, so this is what it is, and of course, like I was saying before, the dreams are key aspects of spirituality. Of course, you got prayer, you got those who believe in fasting, and I think probably the Muslims, they do have their period of fasting, and a lot of companies and institutions sort of take time to sort of cater in or factor that in terms of a business or whatever. But at the end of the day, it still comes with them to the basic point that spirituality has come into the mainstream just as much as Easter has always been mainstream for a long time. So, but now I think it's just getting to new levels now where people are now being really open about what they do. Even outers. That's a whole different story. So yeah, but yeah. Anyways, I have to go. This is just gonna be like a quick one. But anyway, later in the day, I'm gonna post a link later, right in the comments. And that link that'll cover even the whole deal with MH370, how one of the passengers had actually had a dream like months before MH370 happened. And right even on the day of boarding, she kept inquiring and asking about the 7 airline. But it was an unfortunate scenario. But really, she had actually had a dream like months before. And then now in there also, you're also going to have access to, I think, one of the ladies who had an issue with a wedding gown being stolen, and then what happened to the husband, and what else, and also what is the remedy behind that. Those who need to go deep on that, you're going to have access to that information in the link below. I'll post it sometime later. But also, as a reminder, so this month I'm giving away 2 copies of 2 signed copies of my book, Uncommon Destiny, Uncommon Partner. And all you need to do is to be an action taker, either on the page or even on the live stream, whenever you can find me, participate. And then the last week of the month of October, we'll be giving away 2 signed copies of this particular book. Now, as you can see, it's award-winning. That's actually with the Jenkins Group. That's probably actually a team that came together, sat down and read it, and then they made a judgment on it, and then it was awarded silver in the relationships category. So, I mean, I was quite grateful for that, because for me, this was a journey of faith, a journey of just hearing God and just, going for it and having the journey to see. So this is really something that's very close to my heart. And for me to give it away, just know that it means a lot to me, because this was my first ever project. And everything I'm doing now, pretty much predominantly in the world of publishing stuff, started from this. So this also is an encouragement to you that, look, whatever dream you got, just start. Even if you don't know much about it, just get to the point where you can start and allow God to do what He wants to do. And then many other things start coming is you've taken this step of faith. Now, so when I talk about purpose, most times I'm not talking about theory, I'm talking about something I have seen, something I'm living and stuff. And all those who are living reviews on Amazon, Smartthreads, you name it, I'm so grateful, appreciate you, all of you, whether you're leaving a review for this one or any other project I've done that's out there on Amazon or whatever. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. You guys are the reason why I do what I do, knowing that I'm speaking to people and you guys are appreciating of that. And thanks so much. So if you have got any of this book, you haven't left a review yet, I encourage you, just leave a review. And thanks. And let's have a look. I think I'm just going to go through some of the topics. Okay, some of the chapters in this one include welcome to the kitchen, the lounge, just basically the White House model, which talks about, for example, lounge, which is your relationship with people from the outside, and then the kitchen, what you do for purpose and stuff like that. And then powerful words, cycles. For example, someone can date a bad boy first time, and then she get betrayed, she get hurt, and normally where people come to the point where they feel for her, they slam the bad boy inside. But if it happens second time, third time, then the issue is no longer, are we saying the issue is the bad boys, or maybe there's something you need to do with. Now that is covered in that chapter of cycles. And then that controversial topic, is there such a thing as the one my take on it, and of course safeguards. And then 3 signs you're dating Jezebel. And I know one of the biggest things we have to do with in Australia at the moment is the issue of people dying, people getting killed, getting murdered in the area of relationships. And it's a sad scenario. And obviously, based on the research, I've come to the conclusion most of these scenarios are actually have to do with that element of Jezebel, and that is included as well. Or you can just get the main thing, which is have to have with Jezebel. All right. So much for that. And yeah, I gotta bounce, and I will catch you guys sometime probably next week. And always remember, you have an uncommon destiny, and this is your moment, this is your time. Shine your light, leave a thumbprint, leave a legacy. Let someone know you are alive, let someone know you've been here. And I think that's Beyonce. She talks a song called, I think he wrote a song for the UN called I Was Here, which basically is emphasizing the fact that make an impact, touch someone's life. It doesn't have to be epic, that as long as you are doing something to touch humanity, to touch someone else with your life in a positive way. So anyway, I've rambled enough. So you guys, I'll catch you later, and you have an uncommon destiny. This is yours truly, Wiz, signing out. Bye.